would be delighted to answer your questions for another 8 to 18 minutes if you have it. Is it good to learn the marketing side of things and sales funnels? Yes, we think so. And the entire episode that we released on Tuesday, earlier this week, you can go through, and it's going to be called the 2023 Beginner's Guide to Marketing or something like that. That's a 3-hour free thing that explains not only how to get a toehold in marketing strategy, but also why copywriters would want to do that. And then that's the free component. And in there, there's a pitch and an explanation of like why we created this particular product that goes way more in depth than what we covered in the previous video. You quickly differentiate between writing for sales versus writing for conversion again. Well, that's the same thing. You either want to write for a click or write for a conversion. In this email, Rod wrote for the click. This was the email that went out right here. Yes, there is a way to make 40K a month as a copywriter. That linked to a video on our YouTube. And the reason why is because we want people to click on our YouTube videos and watch them. Because this was written, optimized for a click, the clicks were high. The views were high on that video too. That video did very well. It scaled pretty highly. I didn't want a lot of clicks for the sales campaign. What I wanted was conversions. The reason why was because there's no copy on this page that I was leading people to. If I was writing to optimize for the click, I would have a lot of intrigue. I would have a lot of mystery. I wouldn't have very much persuasion. I would just try to get people to click onto this page. But this page has no copy. So somebody will like landing on this page would be like, I'm not going to buy that. That's stupid. I don't want to spend money. That's dumb. So what I had to do was I had to write it in such a way that it actually persuaded people and gave people not just a reason to click, but also a reason to buy. That's what I meant by optimizing for conversions. There's literally persuasive copy in here. It shows you what you get. It explains what you get. It gives bonuses. It overcomes objections. It goes into benefits. It shows you why you would want to buy this thing. Ultimately, there are certain points where I say, listen, if you are a beginner copywriter, you don't want to buy this. We're kicking this up to an advanced level course for a reason. And the reason why is because if you're new to copywriting and you don't understand half of what I'm saying, like in this stream, you're definitely not going to understand what I said in this masterclass. So I don't want you to get confused, and I don't want you to get deterred or even like demotivated by buying a masterclass that you don't understand. In copywriting, we call that a disqualification. And the reason why you would want disqualifications in your copy is because you don't want people to buy that are going to refund, issue chargebacks, be unhappy with the product that you put out. You want to like prevent them from buying from moment one so that you don't have to deal with bad customers later on who are going to write bad reviews. You only want the people that are like actively super engaged and interested in buying. And that's what I mean by writing for or optimizing for conversions. Is it good to learn it early on or just learn to write first? When I was learning copywriting, I was kind of learning both at the same time because the conditions under which I was learning copywriting were very high pressure and very linked to having to understand marketing and publishing and entrepreneurship and all those things. Now, here's the thing. I have been writing for money since 2001. I have 22 years of writing experience, getting paid to write experience. I have been writing and getting paid to write longer than many of our viewers have been alive. When I first started copywriting, like true sales copywriting, I had already had over a decade of writing experience. I was already a nationally awarded and published short story writer. I had taught rhetoric and persuasion for 7 years at 3 universities. So like when I was learning copywriting, I had a pretty good grasp of all the fundamental principles that copywriting sort of brings together. And so it's hard for me to answer your question without acknowledging all the sort of advantages and experience I had going into copywriting when I first started, because I knew how to write really well. And then as I was learning copywriting as a sort of like additional booster above being able to write well, I was also learning like the marketing component to it too. you're going to do better if you whole ass one thing rather than half-assing two things. Many of the best marketers I've ever met started out as a copywriter, like getting really good at copy, really understanding the triggers of psychological persuasion. And then they learn the marketing component, the actual strategy, like, hey, this type of copy goes here, this type of copy goes here. We want these bits of copy to trigger at this day, this day, this day, this day, and then amp up on this day. And then we want this price to go up at this time and this price to go down. We want these, that's the marketing strategy component, the cones of Dunshire component.
You forgot about the essence of the game. It's about the cones.
Knowing both, being a good marketer or being even an okay marketer and being able to do copy well, oh man, you can write your own ticket. Seriously. Sean, I just got into copywriting and finished Alex's 5-hour video. Is it too early to get to the paid tiers, or I should start with the free stuff on YouTube as you advised earlier in the stream? If I were smart and a good marketer and I wanted Copy That to be profitable, I would say, oh yeah, you definitely need to go into the paid tiers. Oh, you need to give us money in order to like get those hot, nasty copywriting gigs. No, that's just not true. The stuff that we've put out for free, we've put out enough stuff that you can learn enough to create a spec portfolio, learn the different kinds of copywriting there is, learn what to watch out for and what to pay attention to. Like, that's all free. And also, we've done a ton of content on like getting clients through various means. We've talked about cold pitching. We've talked about Upwork. We've talked about a bunch of stuff. And if you go to our website here, let me show you. We have two things that can help you. One is if you don't want to like sift through our free videos on YouTube, like that's going to be confusing and time consuming. We do have a 21-day sequence. When you put your email and name in here, it shoots it over via Zapier into Kajabi. And then you get 21 days of emails with links to the videos that we think you should pay attention to in that sequence. And we did that so as to just help guide people along, to help people go from just zero to, all right, I kind of get this copywriting thing. For people that don't want to give us our email, to give them that choice, we also have a copywriting guide, several of them. And it goes through the whole thing. It has a 5-hour video. It has the books that you should get. Again, another sign-up page if you want like more guidance. But we're trying to set it up so that the videos on this page are different from the videos in the 21-day sequence. The 21-day sequence and this particular page, they exist in harmony together. They're designed to help you for free get a job and get money. Because what we are hoping to do is to build goodwill with you, that you go like, oh, snap, I'm now making money as a copywriter and I want to improve the amount of money that I'm making and improve my skill. I might as well go back to Copy That and pay for some of their masterclasses so that I can increase my skill, therefore increase my pay. And that way we put stuff out into the world, you give it back, and there is a virtuous cycle there. And we are creating products that ultimately add to the value of the world rather than suck it away and keep it for ourselves. Lesser known resources that we have on the website. We have a glossary with every copywriting and marketing term that we could think of. Like if you ever encounter a piece of marketing jargon that you're confused by, we've probably defined it for you. And Alex has a video where he went through every single one of these and like gave a little bit more context or gave examples. We have a page on the books, our favorite books that we think copywriters should read. Read 2 of them if you're just starting out. You don't need to read all of them. Just read 2 and get the theory. Because what you're going to find is as you read more and more copy books, you're going to see a lot more overlap between them. So you don't need to spend a lot of money. You just need to read 2. And by the way, we recommend scientific advertising because it's in the public domain. You can get it for free. That's what I want you to do next. You don't need to pay us money to go make money. And if you're on the Patreon, we hope that we are putting out stuff every single month that can help you accelerate or enhance the money that you're making. Quick question. I'm from Zambia. I know that is from Africa. Just got into online space, copywriting to be specific. Can I make it from where I am? The online world seems very overwhelming, but I'm willing to push through. Listen, I know 3 copywriters from Africa. No, 4, who make a really good living. And because their cost of living is so low, they make average American salary, but they get to live in Africa. They're doing good. They push through. One of them, when he started, he didn't have a computer. He just had a cell phone. He learned how to write long-form direct response copy from his cell phone for free. And then he just practiced and wrote on free word processing software on his phone. And he got gigs that way. He just cold pitched. He wrote spec pieces for businesses. It was like, hey, I wrote the lead for the sales letter. Would you like me to write the rest? Are you interested? And he got several paid gigs that way. and he made a decent amount of money. And so, yeah, it is absolutely possible. Yes, it is overwhelming because literally there are thousands, if not millions, of businesses out there that need copy. And so how do you find them? How do you find what niche to go in? Like, are you going to focus on the big ones where there are fewer businesses but way more competition? Or are you going to like look elsewhere? And also, if you're far away from those businesses, how can you appeal and show them that like you are the person for the job? It's all very confusing. It's all very overwhelming. But listen, it all becomes less overwhelming the more time you spend with it and the more knowledge you gain. So take it slow, bite-sized chunks. Don't feel like you need to know everything the first moment that you get into copywriting, or even the first year you get into copywriting. Take the time to get good at one thing and then parlay that skill into the next thing. That goes for you, and it goes for every single other person here watching. What would the process look like from the brief to the end of submitting the copy? That depends on the business. Like, for example, I've been a copywriter for 10 years. I've never seen a creative brief in my entire life. Honestly, like I discovered that briefs existed maybe 6 years into my copywriting career. And my first reaction to that was like, why? That's stupid. We have videos called like a series of videos called Copywriting 101 that walk people through like how this stuff works. Here's what happens. You reach out to a client. Once you have a client and they say, okay, hi, yes, I would like to work with you. The next step in that process is going to be a handshake deal. Like, yes, work for me, do this work for me, and I'll pay you money and just trust me. Or you can pay what's called paper the deal, which is you have a contract, you have deliverables. It's very specific. It's very defined. If you're on Upwork, almost every single deal is papered and defined because it has to be. But if you're working freelance and outside of a platform like that, it might make sense for you to get a contract done up. Legal Shield is very useful for that. You can get one for cheap. You can also just find them online. It's all free. Depending upon the project, you either initiate research, or you talk to the client, or you talk to the editor or the guru or whatever you're trying to sell for. If you're trying to sell candles, you don't really need to have an on-the-phone interview with the candle seller. You can ask for a sample, and if it's like a contract deal where like you are going to be writing either PPC ads or Facebook ads for like the next month or so for these candles, like, yeah, maybe they'll send you a sample candle, but in all likelihood, they won't. And so you just need to go and be like, okay, this candle is called the burnt sienna candle, and it has lavender in it. So what do you do? I, as a copywriter, would go, okay, I know the ingredients. I know what this is. I know what people get. I know what it costs. I know all the details. What can I do that's a little bit deeper than another copywriter would do? And this is me personally. I think that the most important aspect of copywriting is research. What I would do is I would look at the ingredients of the candle and I would go like, okay, what is the weird or unique thing here? Hey, say this burnt sienna candle has lavender in it. I would go online to like scholar.google.com or PubMed or something, and I would see if there are any studies related to that ingredient. I would find out like, hey, lavender has relaxation properties, anti-inflammation properties, whatever. And then I'd be like, huh, there's my hook. There's my angle. Then I would start testing the copy and testing different angles to see what hooked. Typically what happens is you give your copy to your client and your client goes, well, this sucks. Sometimes it's because your copy sucks. Sometimes it's because your client wants to feel smart and in control. And so they give you edits, even though it doesn't need any edits. And they do that just because it is incumbent or expected upon them to provide edits. You see a similar sort of situation happening if you ever like hire a mentor or hire like somebody to edit your copy. They're always going to find something, even if it's dumb and even if the copy is perfect. You do a round or two of edits and then the copy goes through. It comes back, and typically what happens is, you get some sort of data. Now, that's if it's a small business. There are other businesses too where the copy would instead go to like a designer or to like a different team to create like the creative to go with your copy and then get posted. And then it depends on like your contract or your agreement. You either get paid the moment you submit the copy, or you get paid like, at the end of the month or at the end of the week or what have you. If it's a retainer, you can also get paid like on a contingency, like, hey, I will pay you money if any of these sell. If any of these produce sales, I'll pay you. One thing that I actually did a long time ago was I had a contest. I basically like put out to the world, like, write an email for this promotion. I will critique it on stream. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, I have 16 hours, literally 16 hours of me streaming and actually like writing, revising, and like giving feedback on email copy. And what I did was I basically, any like actual email that I used, I paid people. And then I had a contest where if anybody got above a certain open rate and a certain click-through rate, as well as sales, I gave them $200. And so I paid several people $200 per email because they hit those thresholds. Basically, once you get paid, you can either like reach out to the same client or do more work for the client or move on to the next gig or what have you. That I think pretty much does it. No, shut up. You're awesome. Okay, bye.